Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Farah, aka Dr. Laurent. Today, I want to talk to you about nurses making bank. That's right, how you as a nurse can start monetizing what you already know, your current knowledge. All right. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because we don't talk about it enough in nursing, right? So you may think that you can't start a business, you can't be a consultant or a coach, but you can. And I'm going to start breaking that down in this episode. So if you happen to be watching, thank you for watching. If you happen to be watching the replay, please drop any questions or comments that you may have. And I'm super excited to share that I'm going to be starting an exclusive Nurses Making Money Moves Accelerator. It's a VIP accelerator. I'm only accepting 5 nurses into this program. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned. Stay till the end to hear more about the program, and direct message me if you are interested in learning more. Okay. So today I'm going to share 3 tips on how you can start monetizing your knowledge. And what do I mean by that? Monetizing meaning how you can start making money and just straight getting paid, or as I say, making bank. Okay. And this is important to me because in nursing school, we don't talk about this. We don't talk about how to negotiate your salary as a new nurse, or even when you're transitioning between jobs, going into an educator role or leadership role. We should absolutely be negotiating your salary each and every time. And I know many of us are getting these advanced degrees and advanced certifications. I myself went all the way up to get a doctoral degree. And I know many times I speak to nurses, and this has happened in my own career, when you get an advanced degree that you think you're automatically going to get a raise or a promotion, but that is not necessarily the case. A lot of times, some facilities or, hospitals, organizations may not even give you a pay increase after you get a degree. Sometimes it would be as low as $500 or maybe $1,000, a one-time payment just for you advancing that degree. And think about how much these degrees cost, right? Even though, obviously I always support education. I'm a big advocate for education, but we need to start making some supplemental income, more income for ourselves, right? So this is why I want to talk about this topic. And this is not for every nurse. I'm not saying every nurse should go into business or start a business, but this is for the nurse who's the high achiever, high performer, looking for more freedom, looking to build a personal brand, and looking to monetize off your expertise. This is for you. All right. So let's get into it. So tip number 1, you can package your expertise into a digital product. All right. So again, when I talk about business, you can start a business that is a service-based business or a product-based business. So a product meaning something like you're going to sell either a physical product or a digital product. So this could be something like a candle business, right, which is a product, or a digital course that you can actually sell. And the beauty about this is you can create it one time and sell it forever. All right. You create this course one time and you can sell it forever. So there are so many different type of courses that you can create. But of course, before you create a course, you really have to see if there is a need for this particular course or a digital product that you're going to provide. So for me, I created a course called the New Nurse to Dream Role course. And it's a course specifically for new graduate nurses because so many nursing students and new grads have come to me for coaching in terms of job search and during their interview because they're struggling to get jobs right out of school. Sometimes it takes them anywhere from 3 to 6 months or even up to a year to get exactly what it is that they want. So what I did is over these last 4 years, all the questions that I've collected, all the consultation calls that I've done, I've literally documented everything. the most asked questions, and I created a specialized course for nursing students, senior nursing students, and new graduate nurses. Basically, everything that they've asked me, and in a program where I teach one-on-one. So I am a nurse career coach for those who don't know me, and I started this business about 4 years ago. So I coach clients one-on-one, the process of the job search, how to, have the right mindset to get the jobs that you want, strategies, tips, interview tips. Excuse me. And we focus a lot on confidence building and mindset. So that is all included in my 5-step framework in this digital course. And you can build the same, something similar of what your audience, your potential clients may need. So if you see yourself as an expert in XYZ, and many people come to you already for that particular knowledge or expertise, then you may want to start asking your potential customers or clients if they would benefit from something like a course, a digital template, some type of workflow, a framework, whatever it is. You can package it up, like I said, in a digital product and sell it. Okay. There are multiple forms, ways that you could sell these products, right? There are a lot of different websites that you could sell it on. You could sell it on your own website if you decide to create a website, but you don't necessarily need your own website to start. There are other forms of LMS systems, learning management systems, that you could purchase monthly and put your course in there. So for me, I have a website called nursefair.com, and it's Squarespace. So that's where my website is. And there is the ability to also insert courses in Squarespace. So that is where my course, From New Nurse to Dream Role, lives. And of course, there are some fees associated with that, but they're not a lot, right? So that, like I said, is one way that you can package what you already know into a product that you could start selling. Okay. But of course, before you do that, you would have to establish your business. And a lot of nurses who are watching, and a lot of nurses that I speak to, think that it takes a long time to establish a business, but it doesn't. Depending on what state you live in the United States, it can literally be anywhere from 3 days to about 2 weeks, and you can have an established business. A lot of nurses that I help establish business, their business, typically they will pick an LLC. That's what I have, which is a limited liability company, and it's very easy to set up. Okay. So you can, purchase my book if you want to learn more about that. It's called Nurses Making Money Moves. It's on my website, nursefair.com. But literally, it doesn't take much to start this business. But of course, I highly recommend that you see a tax professional and discuss, what is the best entity for you before you start. So, like I said, for those who don't know me, I do help new graduate nurses land their dream job in less than 90 days. That's what I've been doing over the last 4 years. I've helped over 200 nurses land their dream role, right? But because I've been a nurse career coach, so many nurses have come to me and asked me, well, how did you start coaching? How did you start this business? So that's why I decided to write the first book, Nurses Making Money Moves, A Nurse's Guide to Starting a Business, like I said, which could be found on my website, nursefair.com. But people were still asking for more and more support. So then I started my, Nurses Making Business Moves retreat. I've already had 2 retreats. One I held in May, and I just held a second one in August, and that was in Clearwater Beach. And this was a weekend packed of basically a business retreat where we talked about business, mindset, value-based pricing, how to set up your offers, how to show up online, how to create content, how to market your business, packed with information. Literally that weekend, these nurse entrepreneurs did more in that weekend than most people will do in a whole year. Okay. So I'm planning the next one to be this October. So if you're interested in coming to that business mastermind, send me a DM and put business mastermind. So back to my point, because so many nurses have reached out to me, this is why I'm now creating more content to help nurses like you start their own business, whether it's a coaching or consulting business. Okay. So, like I said, if you're just jumping in, I'm talking about how you currently, as a nurse, can start making money with what you already know. So, the first step that I shared was to package your expertise and your knowledge in a digital product, whether a course, some type of framework, um, templates, you can sell templates, different things like that, right? So, that's the first thing. And as nurses, we need to get away from thinking that we have to work super hard, meaning trading a lot of time for money. Because, like I said, yes, starting a business in the beginning is not easy. You do have to put a lot of time. But if you create a digital product, you're just creating that digital product one time and then you can sell it forever, right? So, that is the mindset that you need to adopt so you can start making more money. And we need to normalize talking about money and giving value and making that impact. All right, because we don't really talk about that in nursing school, and I feel like it's almost taboo. If you're listening, please let me know if this is resonating with you. Put a 1 in the chat. And let me know if you're ready to make money moves. Put money moves in the comments. Okay. And step number 2, my tip on how you can start monetizing your expertise is offering consulting services or coaching services. Super easy to do, right? So again, you can start your business and have a consulting or a coaching business. So I will use myself as an example. 4 years ago, so many nursing students, new grads, other nurses were coming to me and asking me about, how can I, how can I help them with their job search, with interview prep, so on and so forth. And then I decided, well, I could just turn this into a business because I'm already doing this for free all the time. And that is the number one thing that people are coming to me for. So I decided to, start a business coaching. So basically, it was when I first started, I started doing resumes, cover letters, like a done for you service. But within a short time, I realized how much time that was taking me. So then I really switched my services over to do a done with you. So really helping them through the process, teaching them how to take keywords, how to structure their resume kind of on their own, but me coaching them through it so that they could learn, right? And then throughout that, I built a 5-step process of how I coach my clients one-on-one and created a whole package, a whole offer for that. Okay. So you can do something similar where you are coaching, whether it's tutoring nursing students, helping them pass their NCLEX, or helping them transition from various positions. You can help with leadership coaching. You can help with education, coaching, or consulting. I meet a lot of simulation experts, and there aren't many simulation experts out there, and very few are certified in simulation. And as a former director of education and former director of a nursing program, I know how valuable simulation is to nursing programs. So if you have that expertise in education, or let's say in curriculum development, so many nursing schools either need help with that, whether maybe they're upgrading their curriculum, doing curriculum revisions, or they need help setting up their simulation program or updating it, or there are nursing schools out there that are being established and they need help with curriculum and simulation and all that sort of stuff. So if you are currently in education, that's another way that you can start monetizing, especially through consulting. Okay, so that's one way. Um, Something else, let's say you're a leader and you're really good at operations, or maybe, you have a specific specialty where maybe you help hospitals reduce readmission rates or whatever the case is. I myself, I am certified in patient experience. You may not know, but there is a patient experience certification out there, and many hospitals struggle with getting their patient experience scores up. So that could be something else that you do as a consultant, is come into a hospital, assess the situation, and give them strategies as a consultant to help increase their patient experience scores. Okay. So these are so many examples that I'm giving you. Another simple thing is certifications. Like I said, I've had 6 board certifications in different specialties, specifically ER. So let's say you are a former ER nurse or an ER nurse, you have all the certifications, but let's say it's easy for you, right, to get these certifications. It's easy for you to teach about it, but your colleagues are struggling to, say, pass the certified emergency nurse exam, and they keep coming to you for help. Well, maybe you should start a business helping them pass their certifications, right? The opportunities are endless. Okay. So that is really what I wanted to say. Tip number 2 is to start a consulting or a coaching business, right? And for coaching, you can do a model, or you're doing one-on-one coaching like I'm doing, or a one-to-many coaching. So you have many people and you're coaching through, something like a Zoom or something like that. And then with consulting, you can do a done for you service, a done with you service. There's so many different ways that you can do consulting. And like I said, I'm going to be rolling out my program, which is the Nurses Making Money Moves VIP Accelerator. I'm only accepting 5 nurses who are high achievers, high performers, who are ready to take action, tired of being undervalued, underpaid, underappreciated, and want to start building their own wealth, creating freedom through starting a business. So really how to turn your expertise and profits, your expertise and knowledge into profits, right? Into a profitable business. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the third thing that you can do as a tip. And, this is one of my favorite things to really talk about. And we're going to get in that in just a moment. But really, it's what I'm doing now. Okay. My third tip for you on how to start monetizing your expertise and knowledge is to build visibility, right? And authority. So what am I talking about? Build visibility and authority. So visibility meaning on social media or in person, right? Start creating content. Start creating content in the form of written posts on multiple platforms, ideally, or where you think the majority of your audience will be. So let's say you are wanting to be a consultant, let's say for education, then you should start going to in-person conferences, workshops that have education leaders, whether it's in academia or in the clinical setting. You see what I'm saying? If you are a simulation expert and you want to start a simulation education consulting business, then you should probably be at all the simulation conferences. and also at these educational conferences, right? Things like the NLN, the National League for Nursing. There are so many conferences, I can't even keep up, right? These are the places where you need to be to start networking so that you could be visible, right? That's that visible piece that I'm talking about. Okay, so creating content, whether it's, like I said, written content, video content, or going live, such as I'm going live now on multiple platforms. So right now, I'm going live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn all at the same time. And I'm going to be able to take these videos later and have short form videos where I'm sending out short form videos, meaning about 30-second to a minute or a minute and a half type videos where I'll be sending out on different platforms. Okay. Another way is through podcasting. So this is called The Nursing Dose with Farah on YouTube, and it is part of my podcast. You could also take the audio version and put it on Spotify or other podcast platforms, right? So you could have a podcast where you're on your own, sharing your expertise, or also interviewing different people. Or if you don't want to have a podcast, but I highly recommend a podcast. If you don't want to have a podcast, then what you need to do is start showing up on other people's podcasts, right? Start asking others to be on their podcast. And by the way, if you are interested in being on my podcast, The Nursing Dose with Farah, please send me a DM and message me now. I changed the format of this. It's now a paid podcast because there's so much work that goes into it. And I want to make sure that I'm highlighting my guests, specifically if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that wants to promote your business, your products. Obviously, we'll talk about a particular topic, but we will highlight you and your business. So if you're interested in coming onto my podcast, please put podcast below or just direct message me, okay? And say, I'd like to be on your podcast. So we're talking about how you as a nurse can start building visibility and authority. So another thing about authority is, what do I mean by that? Showing up as a thought leader, a leader in nursing, speaking out on certain topics in the industry, trends, something that you know about. So things like being on publications, writing articles, even on LinkedIn, you can actually start your own newsletter, which is very important because you need to build a following, right? You need an audience. And the way that you're going to get that audience is by sharing value, sharing content, and building that personal brand so people get to know you, right? Because we know in business, and you don't need to have a business for this, but you should know this, right? Because we do it all the time. We buy from brands that we trust, right? And people do business with people that they trust. Now, how can people trust you? Well, number one, they have to know you. They have to like you. And then over time, once they see you showing up consistently, right? Like I show up on LinkedIn pretty much every day. I show up live at least 3 to 5 times a week on LinkedIn and other platforms. I'm always sharing content about interview tips, job search, right? How to make money in business as a nurse. I am speaking at my own conference that I have. I just started a conference called Nurses Making Money Moves, which is now Nurses Making Business Moves, which will be held in Tampa, Florida, March 2026, right? But I created this conference specifically for aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and nurse entrepreneurs. And I want to bring the nursing industry with other female professionals who are experts in business, whether that's finance, marketing, sales, whatever it is, because we need to learn from other industries if we want to grow in our career or grow in business. Okay. So Like I said, I've built my authority in that space because I now am doing my own events, my own conference, and things like that. So for you, you could do the same. And that's what I mean by showing up consistently so people can see you as the go to expert for whatever niche or niche, whatever you want to call it, that you are an expert in. Okay. And some people might say, well, I don't want to come on social media and share everything that I know, share my expertise. But that's how people are going to trust you. And that's how people are going to know that you know what you're talking about, right? There's a lot of AI out there. So people want to know that you're the true expert, that you are you. You are who you say you are, and you're not fake, right? So I can't come in here and talk about something that I don't know, right? So just recently, I shared a video about how to answer clinical style questions as a new grad, right? So I can't fake that. I talked about that for about 30 minutes. And I could have went on, but I typically keep my lives to about 30. So this is what I mean. When you show up live, people have the opportunity to ask you questions in the comments section, you know, get to know you, get to know your personality, and see, like, hey, would I want to work with this person? Right. And this is what I'm talking about, building that visibility, building that authority, building that trust. And this is also building your personal brand, right? So if I Google your name and I see that you have articles, publications, you've been on multiple podcasts, or you have your own podcast, you've been in the media. So for me, I've been on the Jennifer Hudson show. Shout out to Jennifer Hudson. I've been on Sirius XM, on different podcasts and shows, in Sigma International. The ANA has featured me, right? So like so many different platforms. When people Google you, they're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. This person is credible. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They will trust you. And they will be more likely to do business with you or buy whatever product or service that you are providing, right? So, and I know it's not easy to show up live like I'm doing. It really, some people are against it. They're like, I don't want to go live. I don't want to be on video. But when you realize that your knowledge and expertise can help other people, and when you find out what your real impact is and what your purpose is, that helps you feel fulfilled, right? It's all about giving to others, service. So when people say, well, I don't want to come on here and like give everything that I know, that's the wrong way to think. You have to think, I'm sharing my expertise. I'm not saying give all of it, but I say, give a good chunk of it so that people know you are the expert in this area, so that, if they want to work with you one-on-one, they will be more attracted to you. So when I say give value, that's what I'm talking about, right? Because when your impact is bigger than you, then you really take your feelings out of it. Like right now, my hair is all messed up. I really don't care. I'm like, I gotta go live, right? So let me know if this session has been helpful. Let me know what topics in business, if you are a nurse or aspiring entrepreneur, that you want to hear more of. And if you are interested, like I said, in joining my, program, which is the Nurses Making Money Moves Accelerator, the VIP Accelerator, I'm only accepting 5. And it's going to close probably in like 2 weeks, I would say, or so. Definitely direct message me if you want to be part of that 5. And again, it's not for everybody, and I am not accepting everybody. I'm only accepting nurses who are ready to take action, who are high achievers, high performers, ready for that next level, that next step to take action to start their business so that they could start making those money moves, making those business moves, and not afraid to be visible, right? Because if you're going to be in this program, in this accelerator, trust and believe I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone, and I'm going to make sure that you create content. That's going to be part of it, which is this personal branding aspect, the visibility piece, building authority. You have to show up on camera. So that means video, that means going live and sharing what you have out there to the world so people can know about you, so that they can like you and trust you and do business with you. Okay. So I have about a minute or two left. If there are any questions or comments, please drop it down below. I will be happy to answer any questions or comments that you have. And again, as a recap, for those who are just joining, you can watch the replay. But this topic was about nurses making bank, how to monetize your knowledge, and how to build your freedom as a nurse. Number one, obviously, it's starting a business, which I can help you through that process step by step. But number one is to create digital products, right? Number two is offer consulting or coaching services. And then number three is really building your visibility and authority, which goes hand in hand with building your personal brand, right? So people can trust you to do business with you. And then, of course, if you're interested in the 8-week program, which is the accelerator, the Nurses Making Money Moves Accelerator, I'm only accepting 5 nurses. So DM me, direct message me quickly if you want to get into this program. Okay, and I'm not accepting everybody, only those that are ready to take action, ready to show up on camera. So don't even message me if you are not ready to take action or show up on video and create content. And don't worry, I know it's like nerve-wracking. I'm not going to just throw you out there. I will take you step by step through the frameworks that I've developed, give you all the strategies and tools that you need to show up and be visible. All right. So that's it for me. I don't see any more questions. Until next time, have a great day and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Go out there, make those money moves and those business moves. Again, subscribe to the Nursing Dose with Farah if you're not subscribed yet on YouTube. Please subscribe also to my newsletters. There's the Nurses Making Money Moves newsletter on LinkedIn, and then the new Bold Nurse newsletter also on LinkedIn. And follow me for more content.